Welcome back, everybody, to WCS Premier League for StarCraft 2. We're in Burbank, California, in the round of 32 for Group C, and we already saw 2 matches take place. In our last match, we just saw Violet 2-0 Marine Lord. Kane, was this a result that surprised you, especially after how we were talking about how Marine Lord's a very good player?
It did surprise me. I knew that it was a possibility that Violet could take the series, of course, but at the very least I expected a 2-1 in either player's favor. So it was definitely kind of shocking to see Violet take that 2-0 pretty convincingly as well.
Yeah, and we just look at the matches that have taken place so far. We already see that in the upper bracket it'll be Ret versus Violet, whereas in our lower bracket it's going to be Mystery versus Marine Lord. Now, we just talked about the Violet Marine Lord series. What were your thoughts on Mystery versus Ret, especially since this was our first time really seeing Mystery?
Yeah, the first game on Vanny, where he built 7 oracles, I thought the rest of the series was going to be full of cheese, full of crazy stuff, but unfortunately it was not, and it was pretty standard. But still, I was quite impressed with Mystery's play. I didn't think he would be quite as strong as he was. Ret did win, of course, so I'm happy for him, but I think overall it was a very good series.
Yeah, and of course these guys are fighting to move on to the round of 16, where our Season 2 finals will take place in Toronto, Canada. And Kane, this is special for you, isn't it?
Of course, yeah. I've played in Toronto a couple times, and we were talking about this earlier, but the crowd is always amazing. They always cheer as loud as they can, and nobody's afraid to be shy or be embarrassed or anything like that. We always go all out.
Yeah, and if you guys want to see what it's like firsthand, our tickets are on sale, so make sure to check that out if you want to make it to the live show over there in Toronto. It's bound to be fantastic. I've witnessed the crowd firsthand, and it was absolutely electric. I'm sure you can attest to that.
Absolutely. Even I haven't played on a stage, but I have watched Canadian players like Scarlet play on the stage, and it's incredible. It's really almost special, you know?
Well, in terms of who's going to make it on to the round of 16, we do have to continue in our Group C to find out. Our next match is going to be elimination time already. It's crazy to say it, but it is that time. It'll be Marine Lord versus Mystery. And again, this is not the elimination match I would have expected, just because there's been so much hype with Marine Lord all day. We've been talking about how he's a very touted player. Everybody praises him all the time. But now this is it. If he loses here, his Premier League dream is over, King.
Yeah, and it's especially scary to go against Mystery in this because you don't know what he can bring out. You know, that last series was a PVZ with him, so you don't know what he has planned for PVT. And I know Nate is especially excited to see what he can pull out here.
Yeah, definitely. You were talking about how he went for that crazy 7 Oracle strategy in that Game 1. Do you think he'll have a similar trick up his sleeve in his series against Marine Lord?
I think it's going to be full of cheese. I think that Mystery is going to pull out some stuff that hopefully we've never seen before. I don't know if it'll work, but hopefully he pulls out some pretty crazy stuff.
Well, Marine Lord himself, as we've been saying, I mean, we've just been praising this guy left and right, but this is it. He really needs to step up to bat here. I can't help but feel like nerves are going to play a really, really big role, as this is it. I mean, it's either now or never. He needs to step up. So what do you think? Is this going to be a game where his nerves are a bigger factor in how he does, or is it just going to come down to his gameplay?
I think nerves will definitely play a big factor. You know, he's not experienced in this type of environment. He hasn't played that many big offline tournaments like this, and this is one of his best results to date, for sure. So I think that he's going to be quite nervous going into this next match, for sure. But if he can calm himself down and just play like he does on ladder or in French lands or anything like that, I think that he'll be able to take the win. But he just really needs to calm down.
Well, Kane, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Do you think our Chinese player Mystery is going to have some mysterious tricks up his sleeve to pull out a win here over Marine Lord? Or do you think that Marine Lord is going to be able to step up and keep his dream alive?
I think that Marine Lord is going to take the series. I think it'll be a 2-1 this time, though. No matter who wins, I think it'll be a 2-1.
All right, well, I am personally really excited to see this match, as I really do hope that both of these guys are able to keep their, I guess, performance going in their debut Premier League performance. We're about to get this game started. The casters for this game will be Nathanius and Huck. So guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Sue. And Kane knows how much I love those aggressive Protoss builds. It's just, it can be so fun sometimes, you know?
I'm scared. This look you're giving me, I'm not sure if you're actually excited or you're like gonna be nudging me a little bit in between the games.
If he builds 7 oracles against Terran, I will lose it.
Yeah. Well, if it works. If it doesn't work,
Oh,
then,
if it
then you're
works.
going to be like, what a horrible build. I don't know what he's doing.
I mean, if it works, then it's, Terran players around the world can have another day of, wow, Protoss is so crazy.
Message David Kim.
Not that we don't take those days all the time, but it's just crazy because Protoss, when you're playing Terran in the early game, like we've seen some players do exceptionally crazy stuff, like hidden robotics facilities. Like that's that for some of the cheesiest Protosses out there, people that can do builds like that make it very scary because the average like aggressive Protoss would be like, okay, maybe proxy Stargate, maybe fast gateways, they'll let Mothership Core Stalker push. But if you really have no idea what he's gonna do, I think that makes like the start of the game the scariest phase for Terran. Like if Marine Lord can safely get through mid game, I think he's going to be feeling a lot more comfortable in this series.
Yeah, I mean, as professional players and playing at such a high level, and there being like not that big of a difference between players, being able to skip turrets, being able to cut those small edges, taking those small risks, and getting a little bit ahead of your opponent is very important. And no Terran player wants to go into a game like thinking, oh my god, I don't know what he's going to do. DTs, 7 Oracles, Blink all in. Like I can't build 2 bunkers in my main, 2 turrets, and then be on even terms going into the mid game. So you got to recognize builds without actually having all the information and then just kind of put it together from there.
It makes things really tricky because of the resurgence of some of those plays like DT play and the Korean scene's been popular. And that's a big question I have going into this series. Largely because most of the time when we see the Chinese Protosses compete in the foreign tournaments, they still have like this mindset where because they practice with crazy high ping, like we usually see Jim and Max said, like forgo Storm. Like they don't almost never get Psionic Storm, rarely ever use it, very, very rarely. But then we already saw it busted out by Mystery in his series against Red. He wasn't afraid to try to use it early on. And I'm really curious now if we're going to see him play the Phoenix Colossus style that a lot of the Chinese Protosses love against Terran.
I really hope not.
You're not a fan?
I'm not a fan of that style at all. I think it is effective, and I like to see it every once in a while, but I really don't think it's a good style to have as your go-to build. Your normal macro play. I personally love opening Phoenixes. I think getting 3 or 4 of them for drops and stuff is nice, but having it be your bread and butter, I don't know, man. I'm a potatoes kind of guy.
Fair enough. Whatever that means for PvT. How about the maps? Vani Research Station. I love this one for Terran versus Protoss. Mystery picks Coda for map 2.
I feel like it's okay. Like I said, Kodo and Echo are just maps that everybody likes. The vetoes kind of make sense. I mean, Mystery vetoing the 2 biggest maps and Inferno Pulls being like one of the auto vetoes of this season almost to a certain degree. Vani, I mean, like you said, it seems like on that map we see so very, very often just these big Doom drops into the natural, sniping the Nexus, and then all of a sudden the Protoss is really struggling in the game. So that's, I guess, what you would want to look out for the most as a Protoss player. And like you said, if he does go this heavy Phoenix Colossus style, maybe it would work out. I'm not sure.
I mean, if you're aware, if you have the map awareness and you can actually catch those drops, then I think it can work. But it gets really tricky, whether Marine Lord wants to open up with something like a fast mine drop. A Stargate opening can be very good against that if you open straight Phoenix, or if he's going to do some sort of early heavy Marine plays. He's going to go 3 racks after Reaper. Maybe I imagine that's something like Command Center first against someone who opened 10 gate twice against Zerg.
Yeah.
Like those kinds of builds, they almost like auto-kill Terrans that play greedy.
Yeah, the most important thing here is, in general, if you play a safe macro game as a Protoss, you're going to be kind of reacting to the Terran player. Is he going that fast mine drop? And you're going to be defending until you get to that maxed or super upgraded Protoss army, or you add Storm or whatever. But will Mystery do that? We like you said, we really don't know. Is he going to be aggressive? Is he going to do something really crazy and cheesy? Nobody knows. Yeah. Nobody knows.
Getting to see him come out here on land to play.
I want to see something crazy. I want to see 1 base Roddy Proxy Tempest build.
That would be crazy.
And win.
I
mean, if you don't win,
to be fair, I do feel like that is something that could probably work better on Coda or Iron Fortress. Like Bonnie's like the easiest map to hold 2 bases on.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe.
But that would make it more impressive if he did it and it worked.
Something
right?
like Colossus drop. I don't know. That's like the most crazy standard thing, I guess.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds, crazy standard.
I want to see that weird proxy robo, 1 Colossus rush push or whatever. I saw it once, and I think it worked.
Yeah, it's a build that you do in like once.
Whoa. Paused.
BM.
All right. I guess he needs a pause real quick. But we're just about ready to get this one underway. I do think Colossus drops be a bit wild.
Be a bit wild.
When was the last time that we saw people do stuff like that? I actually think it was
Like Pro League or something, most likely, I would say.
maybe. I feel like we saw it towards the end of the World Championship Series last year.
I mean, we
I think
definitely saw it in
Classic-
BlizzCon.
Yeah, because I remember Classic busted it out at least
Mhm.
once.
I just think it's like I said, a build every once in a while. Obviously, if they know it's coming, it's going to be problematic for you.
Yeah, I guess that just comes back to, once again, not really knowing much about your opponent, not being able to look at a significant number of VODs to prepare, because a lot of players, when you look at, like, there are some guys that perform completely differently when it comes to playing online versus playing on LAN. Could always mention Bly, who just like wrecks everybody in online cups.
Oh God,
Yeah,
let's not touch that one.
But,
with the,
but it's like there are situations where players can be more comfortable because you have your own setup that you're used to, that you're comfortable with at home when you're playing.
comfortable is one word for it.
Yeah.
Some other pro players would use another word. Looking at you,
Well,
Manawa.
I mean-
I know you want to say something, man. Just hashtag WCS. You want to go ham, throw some stones, never come back. It's okay, man. Let's burn bridges.
Well, my point still stands, though, that like
Yes,
playing in LAN can really shake things up as far as the way that your styles are going to work out or how comfortable you are doing certain things.
For sure. Yeah, certain players just play completely different. I mean, there's so much more pressure here, And on top of that, when you're up or down a game, it's the number one thing as a professional player is you just want it to end.
Yeah. Very interested to see where we go here. We are loaded back in. We're ready to kick off the lower bracket match. The loser of this best of 3 is out of Premier League for this season of the World Championship Series. In the bottom position as the blue Terran from Team Millennium, he's Marine Lord.
And in the 12 o'clock position, hailing from China, it is Braveheart's Mystery.
And guess what he's doing, Huck?
What is he doing?
I say.
Oh
mini
my.
map?
Oh
that
my.
mini map awareness, Huck. That pro gamer mini map
I was
awareness.
focused on the zooming in and out, and then I was preparing to do the
When I see-
do.
Ah.
But then,
I mean, we don't know what he's gonna do here.
it's a mystery. I gotta stop with the mystery puns. Like the caster
Okay.
life's getting to me, man.
He started a probe after the gateway, so he's probably gonna go gas, right? Fast Stalker
Yes,
Rush.
for sure. I think it's like it ends up being, from the looks of it, my intuition is correct. It'll be like 2 Zealots and then Stalkers Chrono Boosted out. Maybe Chrono Boost on the Zealots too, but getting 2 Zealots, maybe 3. I would say 2 though, and then getting Stalkers to follow it up. It's a good build. I've done it before. It works pretty well. If you catch them off guard, then you can do a lot of damage. There's a question though. He has a few options. He can either wait for the Zealots to come out and wait for that Reaper to move across the map, or he can just start being aggressive as soon as they come out.
Yeah.
I like it personally if you wait until the last moment and then you send the Zealot. So when the SCV gets to the base, obviously he's going to realize, hey, something funky here. It doesn't smell quite right,
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Marine Lord's vision. Like, he did not check at all for proxy, set the SCV straight across. It seems like he's just kind of playing this like it's any other TVP, and Mystery's going to try to take advantage of that.
He should leave his Reaper at home. I mean, if I was Marine Lord, I would definitely smell something funky. Some French cheese coming from Mystery.
I mean, as soon as you enter his base, you're like, okay, where's the gateway?
You see, you see the pylon. There's the
Okay, there's the
core, and something's not right here.
Well, and immediately he looks back. Okay, he's pulling his SCV
And then
actually
this-
over from his natural. He's
Yeah.
going to try to wall off as
He
fast
knows.
as he can. Here comes the Zealot, though.
He needs to target the SCV. That's the number one thing. Oh, the SCV has really good position. This is kind of lucky.
Yeah.
If the SCVs stay on that side of the buildings,
Yeah,
then it's good.
You can't control where the SCVs go, so at this point he's just kind of hoping it comes over. He will be able to DPS down the building supply depot.
And he's going to get the SCV. Now it's down to a micro battle. How many SCVs can he kill? He can't be surrounded, though.
Yeah.
He's doing good damage, kills 2, but it does look like Marine Lord's going to hold this.
And if he gets the bunker up and
if he-
finishes the wall, like a Stalker really shouldn't be able to do that much.
Yeah, he's going to be Gucci if he can get that bunker up.
Yeah. Very, very important. The Reaper comes in, he's like, there it is. Well, it's like, that's okay. Not that big of a deal. Like,
Yeah.
one Stalker running by this, I think, is just throwing a Stalker away. So Mystery has to start thinking about where he's going to go after this. He is building probes again.
And he's just going to bring his Stalker home, I guess, to protect from the Reaper. If he can kill the Reaper, it'll be really good just because Marine Lord might not know what the follow-up is, but it's going to be really hard to do with only 2 units.
Yeah, considering your production's on the other side of the map as well, it opens the door for this Reaper to even get a probe kill, maybe. perhaps.
Uh-oh.
Be quite nice.
Uh-oh.
Turns around, gets him.
But he might lose it. He's going to run right into the Stalker. Oh, that was... I feel like he could have got him.
I think Reaper had some nice moves, I'd say. Starts
would.
up a third bunker, though.
You would, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I would. He's not going for the Mind Drop follow-up, though, so he wants to play with a lot of units.
Yeah, I think he just wants to be safe, especially because the opening was a little wonky. Maybe he's not sure where he stands in the game. I mean, you feel pretty good right now as a Terran player, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of situations where like this gets really weird. In fact, it's almost nice that he waited for the second Zealot because he didn't have to pull SCVs as early, so you could get the resources up to actually build that wall, but not be too far behind. And Mystery throws up a Stargate behind this. Will the Reaper get to see it, though?
No, he shouldn't. Yeah, he doesn't. I feel like that scouting timing was a little bit off. I think he was playing by the clock, and the clock that would normally happen in a normal game, not in a proxy game. Because why else would you send the Reaper at that time? You're not really going to see much.
Yeah, I guess it could also be like, is he one of those guys that's going to just sit on one base and do something crazy? Like, you want to know that there's a natural when you're playing against someone like this?
Yeah,
because then that one time where you don't check it, the guy actually is like threw up 2 more gateways. He's gonna take a page out of Violet's book. He's gonna throw a YOLO build up there.
That YOLO's always nice.
So he kills the gateway, gets the pylon.
Yeah, he's just kind of cleaning up, making sure that there's nothing weird going on. It's more about the pylon than anything else.
He's got enough Marines to defend the Oracle on both bases. It just comes down to, will his Marines be positioned properly? Will he recognize that there's an Oracle coming? This is one of those moments where it could be really bad to try to move out onto the map. He actually starts another Reaper.
Yeah, if he pushed out right now, it'd be really, really bad. I think he's not going to. With the Reaper especially, it's like saying, hey, I just want to scout with this. I'll sacrifice it, see what's going on, and I'm going to keep my Marines at home. But
it's very rare to see another Reaper like this from a Terran, especially since he's still just sitting on 1 gas, which is also actually quite
his Marines are a little bit out of position. But he is going into the natural. If he was going into the main, he could probably do a little bit more damage. But at his natural currently, he has enough Marines to defend against this. And it's very important that he doesn't lose this Oracle.
Yeah, the depot spots it immediately. And he actually clicked on the depot with his Oracle, so it stopped moving for a moment. He's going to grab the NSCV. Tags the Reaper. Oh, very close to losing that Oracle, though. So he doesn't really get much at all for that investment. And now missile turrets are going up.
Yeah, this isn't so good for Protoss. I mean, you don't lose as long as you don't lose the Oracle. You can still make things happen later in the game. You can wait for the 3rd CC to come down. You can pick off like Wandering Reapers, Wandering Marines. You can scout, probably the most important use of the Oracle. And then you always have that Revelation later in the mid game to just watch for drops and stuff. He's being really risky with this Oracle though. It's got such low HP. He could easily lose this as long as He's scaring me, my heart. Oh, and he does lose it.
He flew a little too close to the sun there.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. And he is building Phoenix, so I don't know.
With the Robo Bay coming in, Hawk, and no forges.
I mean, I don't like it. I mean, I don't like it as a build already, but especially when you're slightly behind in the game as is, I just don't see it being the type of build that comes back.
Yeah,
you know,
it's very difficult for actually like trying to set up some sort of army that can take a 3rd base. I'd imagine like the Phoenix. Okay, you have something that can try to stop the drops, and if you sit on top of the main ramp, yeah, a force field can block it. So it's like a bit trickier. But I think he could even drop on top of the 1 or 2 Colossi that will be there with him when he gets a good number of medevacs.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's like sure you can sit in your base and turtle until winter comes, but Terran then can just take a 3rd base, a 4th base, upgrade. They have complete control. I feel like when you're slightly behind, it's up to you to like add a little magic to the game. You know, get 1 Colossus and then transfer into a really fast Storm.
Yeah, or you got to do something to take advantage of the fact that your opponent is comfortably ahead of you.
But playing like a really safe style as is, which is Phoenix Colossus and turtling on 2 base a little bit more, and then getting those later upgrades. It's like, sure, you're not going to die now, but your percentage chance of winning the game later also drops because you're not taking the chance, the gambles necessary to come back.
He does get a forge for +1 attack. He sees the next observer, Marine Lord, quite
really good
observer spotting.
Yeah, really good.
Denying that map awareness. There are now no observers on the map. Of course, replacing them takes away time for playing that Colossus, the Colossus that he needs to stay alive and
so very badly
get this 3rd base up.
He did see pretty much everything he needed to see at this moment, and he does have the Phoenix to deny the drop, so it's not a super scary thing not to have an observer out right now. He does know the 3rd base timing and everything, but it's nice to know. Anyways, it's nice to have that option.
What, could he drop? Could he
go
through these Phoenix?
Yeah, he could go through these Phoenix, but ideally you're always going to lose a dropship there. hopefully he's just smart enough.
It is quite marine heavy too, so fighting against the Colossi gets tricky. He doesn't have extended thermal lance though. It's only just started upgrading.
He's fine. As long as he controls fine. It's more about whether he's paying attention.
Yeah. All right, well, he steps forward. There's the first Force Field's Guardian Shield. Actually reacts pretty quickly. Doesn't lose anything more than his Zealot. But the third base does get canceled. No kill on it. So, I mean, Mystery's trying to make the most of the situation, but that's kind of what we expect from the advantage that Marine Lord had. Denying that was almost a given.
Yeah, I feel like if his second Colossus was next to its sister, he could have just defended without losing the Nexus, but it's a small mistake and he pays a small price, but all those small things are adding up into a bigger and bigger lead for Marine Lord.
I mean, his Nexus would be done now. He'd be mining off of it. He's been putting out a few probes.
Photon overcharge for defense, all these things come into play, and now he's going to go for this big Doom Drop.
And 4 Phoenix actually won't be able to stop this.
That's not going to be enough. That's the Doom Drop we were talking about earlier. This is the maybe Nexus killing Doom Drop, or he's going to lose a lot of Phoenix.
He could focus on the Phoenix too and let the few Marauders that are in there go ham at the same time. And if you kill the Phoenix, then the exit strategy is much easier. But
this is really rough. I think he's going to get it. I don't really think he can defend this.
Gets the Nexus, kills the Phoenix, so he can at least save some of these forces by loading up into that medevac, and he will try. Oh,
he's going to lose. He's going to lose one medevac, but still, I don't
think it was necessary to lose the second one, but he still got a really nice victory off of that.
Pretty good pickup. And I mean,
resetting the Phoenix count too.
Yeah, and at this point, is he worried about a counterattack? Like, is he in any danger? No, not realistically. So he's in good shape. He can still pressure the third base. He can still drop again. And those are the moves that we're talking about, especially on this map, where you just drop into the natural, you get that Nexus, and all of a sudden, Protoss a little bit further behind. You know, it's not a big deal, but all these small little things are adding up.
Yeah, he's got his 1-1. He's getting an armory and a second engineering bay. So Marine Lord will be able to move into his 2-2 upgrades. I guess having that third Nexus immediately rebuilt, like he can still be mining off 2 bases while he waits for the natural to rebuild. He only just started rebuilding the natural though. And Marine Lord now, like, the thing is, compared to the natural, like, this is just so wide open. Like, if Marine Lord wants to try to make something happen, it's much easier than, you know, obviously pushing or trying to drop into that natural again.
Yeah, and his army composition is getting a little bulkier too. He's adding more and more Marauders once he saw that Colossus were added. And
Here
now
come the
he's
Vikings.
Yeah, and he's got a good amount of Vikings too, because you got to remember when he dropped into that natural, he did kill all the Phoenixes.
Yeah, there are only 4 Phoenix on the map, and the Vikings can actually probably just soak that damage up. Like, this is even a scenario where even an SCV pull could work. And there's the scan. He's getting ready. He's thinking about it. There's 4 Colossi with not a lot of support.
Yeah, and the Phoenixes aren't even here, so he's going to snipe this Colossus right at the beginning, and now all of a sudden it's 3, and all this Bio's dealing out a lot of damage. He's ignoring the Phoenixes, targeting down the Colossus, pulls a small little flank here to target down the Colossus a little bit quicker. If he can kill these Colossus, the Bio will shred these gateway units.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings, there's enough of them left over. All the Colossi are dead. He can start to kite with the Marauders. There is no charge. There's no Twilight Council on the map, so the Concussive Shell Marauders are more than enough to deal with this entire army alone.
Yeah, and Mystery didn't trade so bad there, but he did lose his key units, which are the Sentries and the Colossus. Most importantly, the Colossus, and he just doesn't have DPS.
He just started another Colossus. Like, it's not enough. GG's called. Marine Lord takes game number 1 here in our loser match at the World Championship Series. Group C. Now, 1 map win away from having a second chance to get out of this group. Of course, if Mystery loses game number 2, he's out.
Story ends.
Yeah.
For now, at least. I hope not. I hope we go at least 2-1. And we're going to go into this replay here. This big Doom Drop, which we always talk about on this map specifically. He drops, like, as soon as he drops, he's killing, what, like 300 minerals of just warping in Zealots, and then he's targeting down 4, 5, 6 Phoenixes, and he's getting the Nexus.
None of the Zealots he warped in actually got to fight. Like, he loses the 2 medevacs, and then he still cleans house against this Photon Overcharge.
Even losing this last medevac, even if he lost that whole army right there, it's almost still worth it.
Yeah.
That's how important it is, because just the way TVP plays out, he's not super behind, and he's not really worried about a counterattack. There's no possibility for Protoss to come across the map and fight against.
Without the Phoenix, without Blink Stalkers, like, he'll never kill those Vikings. And that's why he was able to just, like, I really love that Marine Lord recognized that when he went for that fight outside the 30. He's like, okay, I pulled my Bio back, but actually my Vikings can stay here. Like, your 2 Stalkers and that 1 Sentry aren't going to kill my, like, 8 Vikings before I can snipe at least 1 at Colossus and close to 2, and then of course at that point he was able to pull the Bio in, and that was really nice. Second map is Coda. I still feel this is a map where those drop plays can be very, very powerful.
Yes, for sure, especially into the main base on this map. And like, Marine Lord, like you said, at the end of that fight, it was a pretty close fight, to be honest, but he lost his Colossus, and Marine Lord honestly didn't have to go for it. He was pretty far ahead. He was pulling farther ahead, but like we talked about in other groups, he had that killer instinct. He did know that he could go for it and finish the game there. And he left it up to his control, which means that he's feeling pretty comfortable, you know? He did peel off that little section off that little infantry to the side to kill the Colossus a little bit quicker, and he's just confident in his play. That's what I see from these games.
Yeah. I'm very interested to know whether or not Mystery's going to try to bust out anything else aggressive. The jacket's coming off.
The hoodie's coming off.
We know what this means. This is basically in esports. This is going Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
He's ready.
He just needs to just start screaming right there.
I guess.
Well, if you're gonna power up, man, you gotta go. Gotta go ham.
Mystery's still wearing his jacket, so.
Yeah, he's not powering up at all, man.
Oh, that's a frightening scenario to be
Piccolo.
in. Yeah. Well, isn't he just like always powered up? Isn't it like part of his thing?
Yeah. He's just
really,
always
he doesn't
that
really,
level.
Yeah, he doesn't really need to.
Yeah, well, Piccolo needs to go into like a hyperbolic time chamber or something.
Yeah, if that's the case. In between the games. It's like, oh, I had a 5-minute bathroom break. He's like, actually spends 5 years in there training. It's like, well, I guess
we just hear him screaming there.
That'll do it. That'll do it. We're loading into map number 2 now. Between Mystery and Marine Lord, we are on Coda. And this is Mystery's last leg. If he loses this map, he will be eliminated from Premier League for Season 3 to play in Challenger again next season. In the top left position, spawning as our Red Protoss from China, he is Mystery.
And in the 5 o'clock position, we do have the Baguette Boy, Marine Lord. Do you think he misses his baguettes?
Yo, man, real talk. The bread in France was great.
Yeah.
It was one of the highlights.
Delightful. I love Tours. Tours was really nice.
It was one of the highlights of both Tours and Poitiers.
I didn't like
baguettes.
France. I mean, Paris. I've been to Paris a few times. Nah. Didn't
It's
really
the
like it
small,
that much.
You like the French countryside,
Yeah.
the smaller.
Yeah, well,
the
not
more subtle,
countryside,
the
but
more
yeah.
subtle, the more subtle side.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, Tour was quite nice. The French players especially have been cool to see. They kind of like, you look at someone like Marine Lord and he hasn't been able to quite. I guess in Terran it's a bit trickier trying to like innovate styles as much.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember like a lot of people talking about like the Baguette, PVZ, like Bilbo and PT Drogo, and kind of like formulating their own French Protoss versus Zerg that some people have been adopting more lately in Europe. And
A little Bow Wow.
yeah, little Bow Wow. Well, I know Marine Lord works with him. Those guys won the 2v2 cup that happened a couple months back. These guys had some great French synergy.
Kind of weird, just the building placement so far. Usually you always want to wall off one side of the gas.
To stop a Reaper?
Yeah, just to keep... You want to have a place where your probes can go to be safe. You know,
Yeah.
everybody wants to feel safe. And those probes don't feel safe right now, man. They got enemies on all sides.
That's true.
Like, they have nowhere to run, and opening double gas. This is a very interesting opening. I guess maybe he doesn't feel like if I see this...
He still only has 3 probes mining gas, though, right now.
Yeah, but it's a little bit more efficient just because, when you do have you have 2, it's something like 70% to 75% efficiency instead of the 66 you would expect out of 2 out of 3. So total, maybe he's at like, I don't know, maybe 110% instead of...
He is pulling in more gas than Marine Lord off of the 3 probes that he had mining, at least before.
Yeah, and as soon as I see the way that this is laid out, if I'm Marine Lord, I'm thinking, okay, he doesn't have that safe place for his probe, so he's probably going to build a quicker stock or a quicker mothership because he needs those units to defend against the Reaper. That's the whole point of having...
He's already checking for a proxy, too. He's
Yeah.
keeping his eyes open for this because that one pylon is in the bottom left of the main, too.
And he's not proxying anything. I think this... I mean... That's what's good about this build. If you don't proxy something, it looks so much like a proxy that they're so paranoid now.
As a Terran player, you go into a Protoss base, you see one pylon, you're like, okay,
Two gas.
There's really only one thing that this usually is, and it's a proxy Stargate. And Mystery played on that by just tucking that pylon in the bottom left corner.
And then just opening normal.
It's like, well, who cares if the Reaper can run around the main when the Reaper's going to be spending all the time looking for a proxy anyway?
Yep, and that was a very smart build. And this whole time, Marine Lord's like, okay, there's a proxy. It's just where it is, and he's still looking for it. Meanwhile,
and he's already opening. And just look at what he's done because he doesn't know where the proxy is. He's like, oh, well, if it's a Stargate and I don't build a missile turret, I'm gonna like instantly lose this game, and I need a bunker too.
And he's gonna be, his CC's gonna be so delayed now because there's just gonna be a stalker and a mothership.
This is the strength of those builds. They're so strong that you kind of have to prepare for them when you're not sure. And now the stalker shuts down the natural. He's got a missile turret in his main base that's totally useless.
Bunker's like, okay, he's not gonna die, but at the same time, he's gonna fall behind just because his CC's gonna be so delayed just by 2 units.
His everything is delayed.
Base
Yeah.
is under
And the
attack.
Reaper's still looking around the map. He's like, "Where's the proxy? Where is it?" There's nothing. You're not gonna find anything.
So he's finally going to scout, and I think now he's starting to piece together like, okay, I overreacted, I guess.
He got baited pretty hard.
Yeah.
Now the Stargate begins, so I guess that missile turret eventually has some utility, but he certainly didn't need it this early. He's going to run in with the Reaper, and it's like, you see the Stargate, now you're just like,
Okay. He's like, okay, I guess they prepared. I guess
It's like
I'm
just
fine.
way further in advance than he needed to. You know, that 125 on the eBay and the 100 for the missile turret, like, he could have gotten his second and third barracks a lot faster.
Yeah, and then his CC even was delayed, you know? It's delayed enough where it's a normal game Nexus for CC-wise. It's finished about the same time as the Nexus. I actually think the Nexus finished a little bit quicker. So
Well, then you also supply block the Terran too, because the build order always takes into account the command center opening up that supply for you.
So it was a pretty good opening, and on top of that, I think Mystery's point of this build is to force the Terran into being defensive, so he probably already assumes that it's not a Widow Mine drop. You know, he wanted to play more safe, so he's going to get those second and third barracks, and he's just going to have a lot of bio. And he's going to go. He needs to do more with this Oracle, though. That's the main thing I want to see here. He really didn't use it to its potential last game. Even if you don't get kills, you need to do something. You got to keep it alive and keep that threat alive. And Marine Lord's going to move across the map with a small Bioforce just as this Oracle is moving into the natural of the Terran player.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got the turrets, then it's not that big of a deal. Maybe you could try to peel SCVs off the edge or by the gases, but
Even then, it's like
there's not
maybe
too many
one or
loose
two,
ends.
yeah.
No, not too many. Tags an SCV and backs off. Well, he got one SCV last time, too. There are 2 Stalkers up front. He has enough energy for close to 2 Photon overcharges.
And he's
So-
got the Sentry, just in case he wants to feel frisky and try to take a gamble going to the ramp.
I mean, with the concussive shell, he should be able to get both Stalkers, though. So
Yeah, and he should
something.
just go into the mineral line and start targeting down probes. If he tries to move up to the he's
Oh, wow, gets the Mothership Core, though. Now targeting probes, I think at this point, he's for 2 Stalkers and a Mothership Core.
and
he's
1 or 2 probes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's definitely gotten. I would feel comfortable with this playing Terran against Protoss.
I'd feel pretty good. 4 probes too. If
Yeah.
you're trading Marines for probes at this point, it's always going to be worth it.
Yeah, because he's not even mining with those probes for a significant period of time. And then that Oracle comes back. It's like, well, there's nothing left for you to do.
Yeah, it's. You know what's really interesting about this? I feel like Marine Lord's playing like very comfortable, and the Protoss player. I mean, I don't want to bash anybody for this because there are good players that do have lower APM, but he's sitting on like an average 120 compared
wow.
to what Marine Lord's 260. I feel like maybe 200 to 260
He's actually playing a lot slower.
yeah, a lot slower. This is like Elfie level slower.
Well,
I mean, I don't want to say Protoss is an easy race, but he's not clicking too many buttons at this point.
I mean, you can say that all you want. As a Protoss especially, I would love to hear you say that. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I never really realized that, and I guess, you know, like, we do know that stereotype about certain players, but we don't know Mystery, and I just realized that. Because I was like, he's not it doesn't feel like he's playing up to his potential, and at the same time,
Yeah, his
APM is a lot
cruising.
lower.
He's cruising here. He snipes another observer,
With the Colossus out, he's not in any danger.
and especially no stim. Like
Yeah,
that's actually
and against Marines only.
those force fields. Yeah, oh, there's no way to escape for that.
So he does peel off a good amount of Marines here. I think I saw his APM fly up to triple digits during those few moments.
Nice.
But he's still a little bit behind, I want to say, just because the Oracle didn't do that much damage, and he did lose quite a bit to the little bio push that came across the map. But not as bad as last game. It's almost an even game. I'd say like 45-55 or something, maybe a slight advantage to Marine Lord. And it's just about tempo now. It doesn't seem like he's just starting to get Phoenix. He's pulling 2-3 of them, and this Oracle doing a little bit of damage, picking off another SCV. And throwing down a Revelation just to keep an eye on things.
This Oracle has already done infinitely more than it did in the last game,
Well,
so no complaints there.
1 is always infinitely more than 0, I guess.
That is true.
And he's just going to peel off these 2 medevacs. Kind of an awkward position, too. I don't see medevacs go this way too often. I think he just wants to delay/cancel that third base and then not take a hard engage. He already knows he has 1 or 2 Colossus out, and that's enough to hold off any bio push that would come. This Zealot positioning is really nice, though. He does spot the Medivacs, but he hasn't moved his Colossus yet. He needs to scurry over there really quick.
Yeah, his army is not really in position to defend this third base. Marine Lord should be able to force a cancel on it, and he will. Kills the probe too, which is always nice. Can't immediately rebuild the Nexus, and getting the pylon complicates reinforcing that position. But he's going back into Phoenix Colossus. Yeah, we're seeing it again.
And he's got a kind of stranger upgrade path too. He's getting the +1, which is not normal PvT. I want to say most times you're always going to get armor just so your units are a little bit tankier, especially with that Guardian Shield, and he's getting the +1. Is that common, I guess, because you're getting more Colossus?
I mean, if your whole goal is to have the Colossi kill everything before they, before the bio can snipe them, and I guess I can see it. And if you're playing Phoenix Colossus, you're already
committing to that glass cannon, kind of I'm either gonna crush this battle or I'm gonna get crushed.
It's like, will the one armor make the difference, or will killing the Marines in one less volley do it?
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix Colossus does have its benefits. It's super safe, like I said, and at the same time, usually you see Terran with a larger supply lead, and right now Protoss does have quite a bit of a supply lead, which doesn't happen mid-game PvT on a normal basis, right?
Yeah, that's true. Seeing the Protoss ahead in this stage of the game is
you would always
really
say, oh, they're way ahead.
Yeah,
but it doesn't feel like that.
The worker count is still very close. So you think the mules give the income boost enough, but
they
doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, it hasn't happened so
Marine
far.
Lord is investing into the infrastructure as well, though. He's getting his armory, his second engineering bay. He wants to go for the double upgrades and the double starport. So I guess the infrastructure investments early on have prevented him from getting that early supply lead that you usually see in TVP. That and just the units not being thrown away for Mystery as much.
Yeah, and he's kind of got a weird defense. In his main, he's leaving a little squadron of Zealots in the Phoenix, and then at his third base, he has the Colossus. I mean, it's a good defense.
So this helps a lot more, I think, against Doom drops, because you drop into the Zealots rather than trying to warp them in reactively.
Yes. And the Zealots are always going to be super tanky. They're going to buy a lot of time as the Phoenix, pick off the Medivacs, and there's Spoton Overcharge or whatever is going to come in after. But Zealots, a lot of times, the thing is, most people warp in Stalkers to defend drops, but if you have a good amount of Phoenix, you don't need to, deter the Medivacs because you have the Phoenix already. Zealots are always going to be better than Stalkers, DPS and tank-wise, as long as they can get on top of the bio. So right now, both players are just jockeying for position, trying to poke at each other, see where there's openings, but it's up to Marine Lord to find those holes more than there is to the Protoss. Protoss is happy, content, getting maxed.
Yeah, Mystery with his army composition, maxing is where you have the most strength. He's got 6 Colossi, 11 Phoenix, and there's only 12 Vikings. So the Phoenix, since they don't take that bonus damage from Armored and they attack so fast, they can still do an incredible amount of damage to that Viking count. It's going to be very difficult for Marine Lord to take a head-on engagement, especially if Mystery maxes out.
Yeah, if Mystery can max out, it's like as long as he doesn't fall too far behind tech-wise, upgrades, maybe ghosts. Wow, and Marine Lord are going to do the tricky play here.
I do like, if you can get away with this, if the Protoss doesn't realize it's happening, this is really nice.
Yeah, if you can get enough turrets, but it does look like he's going to move out.
When he snipes the Colossus.
Can he take an engagement here? They're not done, but at the same time, they're so close, and they're going to tank a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, the missile turret's also going to provide a bit of detection now. As he's still scanning, I guess, for that one hallucination. But the Phoenix, we can just see how hard they're
tearing through these Vikings.
Yeah, and he's only killed one
Marine Lord
Colossus.
can't take this engagement. There's no way. After those turrets died, there's no way.
Yeah, has to back off.
You need to have enough Vikings not only to ignore the Phoenix, because you're going to lose that battle no matter what, but if you can kill all the Colossus, you can still win the war. But if the Phoenix kill the Vikings, the Colossus is just going to tear through this bio.
Yeah. Oh, one Colossus actually walked down the main ramp. The flanking Colossus, it does die. Missile turret is getting in some nice damage. Almost kills that mothership core too. I think a time warp is really, really powerful in this position.
Oh, he catches some of the bio. He's going to be able to pick off the Vikings at least.
Yeah, it's all about right now just pushing as hard as you can with the Phoenix until the bio turns around, and then having the Colossi in position to shave off anything that tries to hit those Phoenix. And Mystery looks like
yeah, they both traded a little bit there, but honestly, Marine Lord needs to do more and more damage. He
has trimmed the Phoenix countdown a lot, but there's a lot more Stalkers being warped in to reinforce for that. It's actually a very, very interesting dance right now because he's still building 4 Vikings at a time. That's most of his production.
I want to see. I don't know if Mystery can take this. He's losing Colossus.
He's really doing a good job of focusing down the Colossi. There's not enough Phoenix to actually stop him here.
There's only 2 Colossus left. One's about to go down, but the bio's getting thinned out as well. It's a really close fight.
He targets with the bio, and with the 2-2 upgrades, he steamrolls this Gateway army. Like 2-2 versus just 1-1, especially without charge. Like those Zealots were never going to be the tide turners. And I think at this point, when you spend the whole game building up this composition as Protoss, like as a Terran player, like you're thinking, okay, 1 or 2 more production waves. Like I'm set. Like how can he afford to rebuild that whole army before I max out off 3 bases?
Yeah, and his upgrades are just like he waited patiently. He kind of poked a little bit here and there, and he constantly retreated. But as soon as that 2-2 finished, we saw them turn around, and then all of a sudden that fight, you know, it looked pretty good for Mystery for a while, and then it just turned.
He's trying to switch too into like a charge lot.
Well, at this point,
Immortal
I think
Archon Storm. But
at this point, I think that's the best choice. Even though it's a gamble and it's less safe at this point, long term, he has to do something because if he keeps doing this Phoenix Colossus style with this deficit, it's going to be really hard.
Yeah, a good job of pushing him away, not letting that big drop come in. So I'm getting the impression he should be able to finish up Storm. Marine Lord's kind of cotton on to what's going on here. He does have the Ghost Academy coming in, so EMPs will be crucial.
This army is just so slow. High Templars are really slow, and you can see the Stim Bio pushing into this 3rd base, and he's just not going to be able to get into position in time. He's going to be able to snipe this 3rd base.
I love
and
that
just
he leaves the Vikings behind the bio to catch any if the Colossus were to try to run up. So sniping the 3rd, a big blow to the income, and the Vikings are chilling here. It's like, yeah, where's your anti-air, boy? Nowhere. Boy, kills the Colossus pretty easily. And there's not much anti-air. All he has of his storms. A couple of the Stalkers do show up. He gets some feedbacks, but the medevacs are still intact. Just go home, repair, and get the ghosts out. Get those ghosts.
Yeah, the army's battered, but you can't close on him. Everything is just too slow from the Protoss army.
And the Terran upgrades make it so difficult to push with Zealots, because normally as a Protoss, if you're playing with charge lots, like if you center
you want to have an advantage.
You want to have the advantage, exactly. And he's going to have 3-3 before Mystery even, you know, he hasn't even started his +3 yet.
Yeah, Mystery's in a lot of trouble here. A lot of trouble. He's trying to peel off Zealots and like scout, but I mean, you don't even, it doesn't matter what Terran's doing at this point. You're just in trouble. He doesn't have, like, he relied so heavily on these Phoenixes to scout and this Colossus Phoenix style to know what's happening, and you're defending the main base in the 3rd. But he doesn't have that anymore, and he doesn't have observers, so Marine Lord's just picking, you know, he snipes the 3rd base, drops in the main, he's killing units there. He's just picking them apart.
Picking apart these really expensive tech buildings, too. He gets the Robotics Bay, gets the Templar Archives, and suddenly Mystery's lost access to the most important tech that he has.
And he can't do anything. He doesn't have the Phoenix to defend against these drops anymore.
All he can build are Immortals, Zealots, and Stalkers. I guess Sentries if you really wanted to.
And that's just not going to cut it. 3-3's on the way. He's doing the ropey-dope? He's doing circles around him, man. He's dropping in the main. He takes the main force. He's taking it to the natural of the 3rd. He left 2 High Templars smartly, but that's not enough.
They get targeted. Only one of them doesn't even get to Storm. He kills both without any storms coming out of them. He still just has those forces sharking up in the northeast side, just waiting for a moment. He scans.
And as soon as he comes back in the main, he drops in the 3rd base.
Yeah, he targets down a few of the Templar. I mean, the feedbacks are solid, but there's just too much here to actually fight. EMPs all the Templar letter left. Snipes the last of them.
He's attacking his 4th base. He's in his 3rd base. He's dropped in the main. Marine Lord's all over him.
Yeah, he is literally all over him at this point. Like there's nowhere that Mystery is safe. Trying to move the last of his forces out, but not enough. GG is called, and Marine Lord stays alive here in the World Championship Series Group C, eliminating Mystery from the round of 32 and Premier League.
That's really unfortunate for Mystery, but I'm so happy to see Marine Lord getting back into the form that, you know, people are afraid of. They say that he is this great player, he is this monster, and he showed it, especially that last game. He was in complete control, completely comfortable, all over him, the whole game, like, decimated him at the end.
You know, as cool as it was to try to get the missile turrets up, even though he wasn't able to set up a contain or some sort of siege, he baited him out enough and just out-controlled him. Like, you think, okay, normally the Vikings have a hard time trading against the Phoenix, but he actually killed so many of the Phoenix that by the time Mystery made his push all the way to his base, he's like, oh yeah, I can just target down the Colossi and win.
Yeah, and more importantly, he felt comfortable. You know, when you're in those situations and you're really nervous and you're uncomfortable, you're trying to force decisions. You're like, oh, it's just easier just to A move, to stim attack move here. He was like, you know what? That battle didn't go so well for me. I'm going to pull back, wait for 2-2. I'm going to snipe when I can. Okay, and go. And then he took the key engagement.
Yeah, well, I'm very interested to see what Marine Lord has to say about that series. He's up on the main stage with Smix.
Thank you very much, Nathanius. Congratulations, Marine Lord. You're keeping your Premier League dream alive. This is your premier debut in Premier League. It must feel fantastic. But looking at your face after that series, you didn't seem phased at all. You just seemed calm, relaxed.
Yeah, I played quite horribly the first series, so I was quite disappointed. But yeah, against Mystery I did better. I think I will play better the next series too, so I really want to advance, and I will do my best for this.
Well, you just talked about how you lost in that first series and you were disappointed. How, as a player, this is your first time in Premier League. It could be very nerve-wracking. How are you able to go into this game and just ready yourself and forget about that other game?
I know that I'm way better than my opponent, so just play my standard play. Nothing special. I know that he is a very cheesy opponent. I thought he would play DT, but he didn't. In the end, he played Oracle, so yeah, that's alright. So yeah, just calm, play my best, and do it.
Well, next you're going to be playing either Red or Violet. I know that in the first series you lost to Violet 0-2. Would you rather play against him because you want to get revenge and show him that you can do better, or do you have a preference there?
Yeah, I think if I play my best, I'm better than both of them, so I don't really care. And I would like to take my revenge over Violet, so any of them is good for me.
Well, I'm really liking this confidence coming out of you. Marine Lord, this is our first time having you over here in America. You're mainly a player we see overseas in Europe. What is it like to come here, not only in America for the first time, but in Premier League on WCS on this big stage?
It's kind of amazing. I didn't expect that, but yeah, I really like it. Flying to LA is a little bit long, but in the end, it's worth it, I think. So yeah, just gonna try my best and let's see.
All right, and my last question for you. You seem already so confident. It doesn't seem like you care about who you face. If you were to make it to the top 16, what would that mean for you? Especially since this is your debut in Premier League, I'm sure it must mean more to you than some of these other players.
I don't really care about round of 16, but I really want to go very far, at least round of 8 this season. So I really want to play my best. I'm going to try against Violet or Red, and we will see. But yeah, I don't really care if I go through. I just want to go as far as possible, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Marine Lord. We'll see who he plays up next. And with that, we do have our first player eliminated in Group C in Mystery. After this break, we'll see. Will Red be able to make it back to the top 16 for the first time since 2013? Or will Violet be the first to move on in Group C? We'll find out soon.
I move objects with my mind. I climb the tallest mountains and slay dragons. I defend my galaxy from ruthless aliens. I am never bored. I am stronger. I am faster. I am G1.